I'm George Benson, president of the College of Charleston. Welcome to the Cistern Yard and to one of the most unique commencement ceremonies in the nation. I am particularly pleased to welcome the many family members and friends and guests who are here today to celebrate the accomplishments of these terrific students. As you know, the College of Charleston has a very deep, rich history. It was founded in 1770 by a group of men that included 3 future signers of the Declaration of Independence and 3 future signers of the U.S. Constitution. We have been educating students on these hallowed grounds since 1785. We begin the program with the national anthem, and by the way, the national anthem wasn't a part of this ceremony in the early years. It wasn't even written until 1812. It will be sung by Ashley Fabian, a junior vocal performance major. Ashley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you, Ashley. That was beautiful. I would now like to introduce some of the platform party here on stage. Others will be introduced later in the ceremony. When you're introduced, if you would stand briefly. From our Board of Trustees, Greg Padgett, Chair of the Board. And Philip, no applause for time, please. Philip Bell, Secretary of the Board. Other trustees, Don Belk, John Bush, Demetria Clemens, Cherry Daniel, Frank Gadsden, Dwight Johnson, Marie Land, Annalisa Moorhead, Dan Ravenel, Jeff Shills, and Joe Thompson. Former board member Bobby Marlowe is former chair of the board. Trustee Emeritus Tim Dangerfield. Tim, thanks for being with us today. The deans of our schools. Representing Alan Shaw, Dean of the School of Business, is Steve Litvin. Steve is Professor of Hospitality and Tourism Management. Representing Dean Fran Welsh of the School of Education, Health, and Human Performance is Andrew Lewis. Andrew is Associate Dean of the school. Mike Auerbach, Dean of the School of Sciences and Mathematics. Representing the graduate school, Dean Amy McCandless, Dean Amy McCandless, is Dave Owens. Dave is Associate Dean of the graduate school. John Newell, Dean of the Honors College. John, stand for a minute, please. Stay up. John is retiring from the college after 34 years. John headed the honors program. John, stand back up. John headed the honors program for 6 years, and in 2005 was the founding dean of what is now the Honors College, and we're very proud of that college. John, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your many contributions to the college. Chuck Baker, new president of our Alumni Association. Welcome, Chuck. Representing the College of Charleston Foundation Chair Ken Gustafson is Sharon Kingman. Sharon is vice chair of the College of Charleston Foundation. Next is Lynn Cherry, speaker of the faculty and professor in the Department of Communication. Members of our executive team: George Hine, provost and executive vice president for academic affairs. You'll see a lot of George later. Steve Osborne, executive vice president for business affairs. George Watt, executive vice president for institutional advancement. Mike Haskins, executive vice president for external relations. Victor Wilson, executive vice president for student affairs. Brian McGee, chief of staff and senior policy advisor. And finally, while she will be introduced more formally a little later, I would like to welcome our commencement speaker, Arlinda Locklear. Arlinda will be presented with an honorary degree at our afternoon commencement ceremony. Arlinda, welcome. Last time I saw all of you, I think it was on this stage, and I think it might have been a Charleston affair. Woo. What a night. Graduates, this is obviously a very special day for you, and one I'm sure you will never forget. I certainly remember my graduation ceremony well. You've had a remarkable 4-year journey here at the college, and the faculty and staff and I are pleased to have taken that journey with you. For most of you, your 4 years at the college began in the fall of 2008, just as the economy was entering a tailspin. For your parents and your grandparents, that was a very scary time. It seemed as if our life savings and investments would be totally wiped out. And yet here we are today. 4 years later, the economy is slowly improving. The housing market is beginning to recover in some pockets in the country. Many employers are hiring again. The stock market has recovered most of the ground it lost in 2008. And you? Well, you've done much better than the economy. You started out as a high school student. Then you went on to become a college student, and now you are college graduates. As you look back and reflect on the past 4 years, I doubt you will think much about those dark days of economic turmoil. Some of us in the audience might, but I doubt if you will. Instead, I expect you will remember the personal experiences that define this exciting period in your life, moments that really transcend politics or economic matters. I recently asked you to share with me some of your favorite experiences here at the college, and I'd like to tell you about a few of those responses that I got now. Communication major Amy Thompson recalled the second weekend of her freshman year when she and two new friends, Emily Jones and Caitlin Green, huddled together in a house off campus as Hurricane Hannah threatened the southeast coast. We do remember that. Hannah eventually missed Charleston and made landfall near the North Carolina-South Carolina border as a tropical storm. Now, that frightening experience helped form close friendships that continued throughout college, and Amy hopes that will endure for a lifetime. Classics major Vicki Bernatsky cherishes the moments of being involved with the college's dance marathon. That's our student body's signature annual fundraising initiative. Since its inception in 2007, the dance marathon has raised nearly $300,000 for sick children and their families in and around Charleston. All of us on the faculty and staff thank Vicki and everybody else in the class of 2012 who supported the dance marathon. Geology major Brett Hahn and a group of his friends from Philadelphia all entered the college at the same time as freshmen. Over the past 4 years, they not only lived and studied together, but played music together in their band, Long Miles. For Brett, one highlight was the band's recent concert at the Music Farm, a couple blocks away, for the release of their first full-length album. C of C students packed the house that night. Political science major Lua Isink Parsi said that her favorite college experience was teaming up with a group of fellow political science majors to write and submit a grant proposal to the Freeman Foundation to conduct research in Cambodia and Thailand. Their proposal was funded, and the group will travel to Southeast Asia this summer. Ua's reaction? What an awesome graduation gift. Business major Mary Evans recalled crowd surfing in Addlestone Library. Parents, if you don't know what that is, you can find it on YouTube. And athletic training major Jamar Brown couldn't decide on just one favorite experience. He liked it all: traveling abroad, running marathons, interning in the college's new student orientation program. He said he walked through Porter's Lodge 4 years ago at convocation, a boy, and will next exit through Porter's Lodge later this afternoon, a man. Jamar, nice going. You the man. The college has also evolved over the last 4 years. We've raised the college's profile. Today we are a national university with a national reputation. Our faculty come to us from the best graduate programs from all over the country, even from around the world. Our students come from every state in the country and many foreign countries. We have over 14,000 applications for about 2,200 freshman seats plus transfer students. Those are numbers most universities would die for. One example of our growing national reputation is the attention that the college received in the weeks and days leading up to the South Carolina Republican presidential primary on January 21st. We all remember that well. The college served as a media backdrop and campaign venue. Every major Republican presidential candidate made appearances on our campus, and nearly all the national news and cable networks broadcast reports and programs from these historic grounds. But it was Charleston native Stephen Colbert's Cistern Yard rally. Over 5,000 people in the Cistern Yard that day in his run for the presidency of the United States of South Carolina that drew the largest crowd and the most media attention. We had over 150 media representatives from around the world covering that event that day. Many, if not most of you, I'm sure, were here. The event was shown on Comedy Central's Colbert Report a few days later. Immediately after the rally ended, about 2:15, the Comedy Central set was torn down and a CNN set was put up. In fact, 2 CNN sets were built immediately after that. Then at 7 o'clock, CNN's Erin Burnett went on the air on the north side of Randolph Hall. And at 8 o'clock, she pitched it to Anderson Cooper, who went to work here on the south side of Randolph Hall with 1,000 of our students in the background and Clyde the Cougar. Now that was a moment to remember in your last 4 years. Other moments, think about some of the athletic things that have occurred. Who will ever forget January 2010? I don't even have to tell you what happened then. Our men's basketball team knocked off national champion North Carolina. What a day. If you ever get a chance to go in the men's basketball locker room in the arena, there's a gigantic picture of Drew Goldlock's shot in the air. Spectacular picture. I'll arrange for all of you to get in there this afternoon if you'd like. Last month, it was our baseball team upsetting defending national champion South Carolina. Our men's and women's tennis teams both claimed Southern Conference championships this year and both moved on to the NCAA tournament. In June, our sailing team will compete for another national championship. And in its first year of competition, the college's beach volleyball team was selected to play in their sports equivalent of the Final Four. This year also celebrated the end of 2 legendary basketball coaching careers, as both Nancy Wilson and Bobby Cremins announced their retirements. Those were days we hoped would never come, but they arrived. They will be sorely missed by all of us, And by the way, Bobby will stay on. He's going to help us build relationships, help us market the college, help us raise money for both the academic side and the athletic side of the university. Over the past 4 years, philanthropic support of the college has grown very nicely. In fact, we have set fundraising records in each of the past 4 years. This gives us some significant momentum going into a national fundraising campaign in the very near future. But we couldn't have achieved these results without the help of your parents. Parents, I want to thank you for your support, financial support, emotional support, your advocacy of the college. It means a tremendous amount to us, and we thank you for choosing the College of Charleston. Over the past 4 years, we've continued to modernize the campus with new facilities and renovated facilities. The new School of Sciences and Mathematics building opened across from the library on Calhoun. And you and your professors turned it into a hub of intellectual curiosity and scientific discovery. The completion of the Cato Center across the street, the Cato Center for the Arts, expanded the teaching, performance, and studio space of our School of the Arts. You made this building literally come to life with your photography, your paintings, your music, and your dance. We also completed the restoration of Randolph Hall, Toll Library, Porter's Lodge, and the entire Cistern Yard area. These aren't just the heart and soul of this campus. These are important national treasures. By the way, the college is the largest historic preservationist in the city of Charleston, and that is something we're very proud of and something we take very seriously. Over the past 4 years, you've done us all proud with your community involvement, your internships, your service learning, your research projects. You raised money to feed the homeless. You helped launch a community fitness campaign, and you participated in a wildly successful literacy initiative in local public schools. And your humanitarian efforts actually expanded around the world. Several of you, as members of the Bonner Leaders Program, traveled to Peru to help build new homes for residences displaced by a devastating earthquake. Others among you traveled to Africa with hospitality and tourism management professor Andrea Canberg to install clean water systems in remote villages of Kenya. Under the guidance of your professors, you participated in cutting-edge hands-on research, conducting archaeological digs, studying cancer-fighting agents, and mapping the seafloor in Charleston Harbor, among other things. Together, we also developed a strategic plan for the college, a blueprint for the next decade, if you will. Our strategic plan charts an ambitious and exciting future, one that we hope will make you proud and one we'll hope will keep you engaged in coming back to the college in the years ahead as alumni. As you return to the college in the years ahead, you will see even stronger liberal arts and sciences core, expanded graduate programs. Guided by our new campus master plan, which was completed in January, you will see a state-of-the-art digital classroom building that brings the latest teaching and learning initiatives and advanced computer technology to the college. You will see a renovated and expanded student center, a student fitness center, a renovated Simmons Center, a renovated Holland Science Center. All of this will be done relatively quickly, we hope. And you will find a full-service alumni center dedicated to helping you advance your careers and reconnect with classmates and engage with future generations of students in meaningful and lasting ways. You will see the college increasingly differentiated from other universities by its innovative academic programs that are tied to the assets of Charleston, to the history, to the traditions, to the culture, to the environment of Charleston and the Lowcountry. All of these initiatives will strengthen our university. What they will really do is increase the value of your degree. You've got a very valuable degree now, but it is going nothing but up going forward. But to achieve this envisioned future that we've just laid out, we can't do it alone. We're going to need your help. In a few minutes, you will become alumni of this historic university. You will join a network of more than 54,000 alumni around the world, a network that I know will benefit you throughout your careers if you will reach out to them and get connected. But just as you needed us to reach the gateway to your career, we need your help for the college to reach its potential, and you know how much potential this institution has. We need your expertise. We need your advice. We need your feedback. We need your help as advocates for the college in recruiting new students and strengthening our relationships with the many institutions that you're going to be working for and the many cities and towns and communities that you'll be living in. We need your help in continuing to build a vibrant and responsive alumni network. And yes, we will need your financial support. You will be hearing that from me and my successors once or twice a year, maybe 3 times, for the rest of your lives. It is now my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Arlinda Locklear. Arlinda grew up in a military family that moved around, but she spent the majority of her childhood right here in Charleston. During holidays and summers, she would visit family in Robeson County, North Carolina, which is home to her Native American tribe, the Lumbee tribe. During these visits, Arlinda often witnessed racial discrimination aimed at members of her tribe. As a result, she decided at an early age that she wanted to become a lawyer and she wanted to defend the rights of Native Americans. After earning a bachelor's degree in political science from the college in 1973, Arlinda enrolled at Duke University School of Law. While studying at Duke, one of her professors encouraged Arlinda to become involved with the Native American Rights Fund, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to asserting and defending the legal rights of Native Americans. After graduating from Duke in 1976, Arlinda began working for the Native American Rights Fund at its offices in Boulder, Colorado, and also Washington, D.C. While there, she was appointed lead counsel for a case challenging the state of South Dakota's authority to prosecute Native Americans for alleged criminal acts occurring on a reservation. In 1983, Arlinda argued the case before the United States Supreme Court and won. She was the first Native American woman to argue a case before the Supreme Court. Arlinda has since argued and won another Supreme Court case. In 1987, Arlinda started her own law practice. The following year, she began representing her Native American tribe, the Lumbee tribe, in its efforts to achieve federal recognition. She would devote the next 22 years of her life to helping the tribe in its ongoing efforts to achieve recognition. She also has represented other Native American tribes around the country in legal cases involving water rights, taxation, reservation boundary disputes, and federal recognition. Throughout her career, Arlinda has earned numerous honors, including the 1987 Outstanding Woman of Color Award from the National Institute for Women of Color, and the 2009 Distinguished Alumna Award from the College of Charleston. In August, she will receive the Margaret Brent Women Lawyers of Achievement Award from the American Bar Association. The award recognizes women who have excelled in their fields and have helped pave the way for other women in the legal profession. Arlinda currently resides in Washington, D.C., where she still runs her own law practice. We are pleased today to have with us not only Arlinda, but her mother, Mary Joyce. And Mary Joyce, would you please stand? Somewhere over here. There she is, right on the front. Also with us is her daughter, Rachel Hall. Rachel. Unfortunately, her son Garrett was unable to be with us today, but we'll say hello to Garrett anyway. If you would please join me in a warm welcome for our commencement speaker, C of C alum, Arlinda Locklear.
This is so exciting to be back with you today, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of the class of 2012. Thank you very much. Good morning, graduates, parents, and families of graduates, President Benson, Board of Trustees, Foundation Board of Directors, alumni, faculty, and the entire extended family of the College of Charleston. Let me start with a hearty congratulations to the class of 2012. This day celebrates your hard work and accomplishments. It also reflects time-honored traditions of the college, a place where academics, liberal arts values, and strong sense of history and place come together to produce a uniquely wonderful academic experience. Let me also express my appreciation and gratitude to the college for the high honor it does me today. I walked across the Cistern in 1973 at my own graduation ceremony, and it never occurred to me then that I might join another graduating class as the recipient of an honorary doctorate. It seems too little to say, but I am deeply grateful. I arrived at the college as a freshman, already blessed. I had the blessing of parents with strong community-oriented values. I had the blessing of an extended family, grandparents and others, who shared my parents' values and nurtured me. And I had the blessing of being born into an Indian community where I learned that we have shared responsibility for each other's well-being. Because of these blessings and my experiences as a member of a minority community, I came to the college already committed to a life in the law. At the college, I was further blessed. Distinguished professors from history to genetics taught not only knowledge, but respect for all manner of human experience. I was taught to think analytically, to write purposefully, and to have confidence in my own mind. I have carried these blessings with me ever since. Eventually, I made my way to the practice of federal Indian law and have represented Indian tribes for more than 30 years now. My career is gratifying, to say the least. As a result of my work, there is a reservation in Arizona that now receives sufficient water to make it habitable for all times. There is a reservation in South Dakota that is now protected against the disruptive extension of South Dakota's jurisdiction within its boundaries. And there is a tribe in California whose members are finally receiving the protection of the United States after more than 50 years of neglect. I could not have chosen a more satisfying career. But here's my point. You too, graduates, should consider a life dedicated to public service. There is great work to be done in many fields, all the way from federal Indian law to economic and environmental protection and sustainability, to the protection of women and children worldwide, and to the assistance of those afflicted with poverty and disease. The fields of public service are numerous and varied. I dare say there is a field of public service that is perfectly tailored to every member of the 2012 graduating class. As you leave the college and embark on your life's work, you have a responsibility to consider and an opportunity to enjoy the rewards of a life in public service. Your responsibility. You are about to take your place as members fully participating in our society. As such, you will become party to the social contract upon which our society is built. It is a particularly sophisticated one that reflects the values embodied in our organic documents, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, our tradition of representative government, and our commitment to public institutions such as education that foster and sustain our ties to one another as citizens. Just as was I, you have all been blessed with the benefits of this social contract. You are the products of a society that is heavily invested in the rearing of healthy and educated children, all the way from your parents to the College of Charleston, and even the United States tax code. Today, you celebrate your individual accomplishments, but you should never lose sight of the reality that your accomplishments were achievable because of a social contract that made the college itself and your attendance here possible. Like every other relationship, this social contract requires both parties to give and to receive. Thus far, you have largely been the recipients of the benefits of this relationship. but the continued vitality of our society depends upon every generation's willingness to assume its responsibilities when the time comes. This time has now come for you. There is no more effective way to fulfill those responsibilities than to commit yourselves to a life in public service. Let me emphasize that public service should be viewed in the broadest possible way, as any endeavor that nourishes, supports, or defends the activities or institutions of a society that are dedicated to the long-term welfare of its citizens rather than the short-term gain of individuals. Thus, public service can encompass the arts, science, government, nonprofits, medicine, and even the law. One final point on your responsibility. When I encourage you to consider a career in public service, I do not mean to suggest that you should thereby take up a cross or bear a burden that does not speak to your heart. To the contrary. If you have been engaged at all in the world around you and have been even the least self-aware, you will have encountered at some point in your life a disconnect between the ideal and reality, between our highest aspirations and our actions. If you ever once thought, that's not right, or said to yourself, this shouldn't happen, then I suggest that you may have already found a career in public service that speaks to you. Your opportunity. Now we come full circle. I've already described for you the opportunities I have enjoyed in my career. It is perhaps the greatest opportunity there is to permanently improve your chosen corner of the world. You can make your community a better place. You can become part of the human striving toward perfect justice and harmony. This is the opportunity that awaits you in a career of public service. And let me say, this opportunity is different in quality from the satisfaction that comes from a job well done in any work. This opportunity to permanently improve some aspect of the human condition is deeper. It can sustain you through failures and disappointments that occur in every life. The opportunity to produce permanent change will also positively affect your personal well-being. It is difficult for any other career to match the gratification and sense of accomplishment you will experience in a career of public service. Many of my law school classmates work every day toward retirement, looking forward to the time when they can reap the financial benefits of their career. But my brothers and sisters who labor in the fields of public interest law look forward every day to their daily work, not because of financial reward, but because of the much richer emotional rewards. There will also be surprising and unexpected rewards that you will experience along the way. You will meet and work with some amazing people, people that you would not have likely encountered elsewhere. And one of the most unexpected rewards for me, my children, having grown up in a household where public service is the norm, are now, as young adults, also committed to making the world a better place in their own way, on their own issues. This is the life I would wish for you, with its responsibilities and opportunities. I cannot promise you success at every turn in such a career, but I can promise a rich and rewarding life if you commit your career to making the world a better place. Again, congratulations, best wishes, and thank you.
Arlinda, thank you for being with us, and thank you for that inspirational speech and that wonderful message. Provost George Hind will now announce the recipients of several awards: Distinguished Faculty Awards, the William Aiken Fellows, 4.0 graduates, and the Bishop Robert Smith Award. George.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, President Benson. This is indeed an honor. It's an opportunity for me to acknowledge our students and our faculty. And I would like to ask each of you to stand as I call your name and remain standing until all of the awards. Everyone, please hold your applause as until we recognize all of these together. The William V. Moore Distinguished Teacher Scholar Award honors colleagues who exemplify the teacher-scholar model and whose exemplary scholarship and teaching have enriched the intellectual lives of our students throughout the recipient's career. This year, the recipient of the William V. Moore Distinguished Teacher Scholar Award is Professor Pamela Riggs Glasgow in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. The Distinguished Service Award recognizes faculty chosen from nominations submitted from the entire college community for dedication and devotion in providing service to the students, the faculty, alumni, administration, staff, and surrounding community. This year's recipient is Professor Mitch Colgan in the Department of Geology and Environmental Geosciences. I'm grateful to you and all of the faculty for all they do to make this institution truly student-focused community of academic excellence. Thank you so much. We are also pleased today to recognize our third graduating class of William Aiken Fellows. These students are the ones wearing medals hanging from gold and maroon ribbons. Aiken Fellows are all members of the Honors College and were selected based on superior academic performance. As Aiken Fellows, they have participated in a range of activities aimed at their development as scholars and professionals in their fields of choice. All are graduating with at least magna cum laude. Of the 14, 2 entered the college at the age of 16, 8 have had an international experience as an undergraduate, 11 have completed internships outside of Charleston, 9 have been accepted to graduate programs, 2 are Rotary ambassadorial scholars, 1 is a Fulbright full grant winner, 1 is a Boren scholar, 5 have had their work presented at national professional conferences, and 1 has composed a large-scale one-movement setting of Requiem by Anna Akhmatova. At this morning's ceremony, we have 2 perfect 4.0 graduates. Would each of you please stand as I call your name? Ellen Kate Innes in biochemistry, and Sinez Hannah Penchev in international business. Congratulations to you. You may be seated. I would also like today to introduce the students in the platform party today. Elliot Wright, President of the Student Government Association, and Mary Alice Miller, Senior Class Representative. Representing the Black Student Union, President Brandon Dixon is Madeline Johnson, incoming Vice President of the Black Student Union. Mary Alice Miller will make remarks on behalf of the senior class today. She will be followed by Elliot Wright with remarks on behalf of the student body. Mary Alice?
Thank you, Provost Hind. Okay. Hey, guys. What's up? I love you, too. By the time we arrive on this stage, we have studied not only the invaluable lessons of our teachers, but also those offered by each other's various interests and ideologies. The liberal arts education that we participate in here matters. It shows us how the emptiness of an atom relates to Buddhist meditation, how the Latin taught behind those tall windows names every tree on our arboretum of a campus. It shows how every department links to another. It ensures that our diplomas represent more than our majors, but a well-rounded education. And if education is connected through this type of sharing, then perhaps we as humans are connected. Maybe what we do matters. And I believe that it does. Everyone on this stage has profoundly shaped me. We grew together. We shared doubt. We realized that if something stops growing, it dies, so we promised to never stop. Yep. We've accepted the death of ignorance to become more open-minded. We've traveled to the end of college so that we may travel more. To know that during our time here, our college has been voted the #2 coolest place to go, and the city has earned the titles of friendliest, most attractive, and sexiest city in the States, is the very minimum of our accomplishments. And yet, doubt remains. We fear for our futures, and we grieve for our past. On the day we arrived, we walked under the Know Thyself emblem on Porter's Lodge, and when we walk back out under it after the ceremony, we're reminded that in the face of doubt, we own the profound ability to continue learning how to know thyself. Growth matters. We are a map of human history, a fundamental part of it. That matters. We have loved one another, we've been hurt by one another, and we've challenged each other. And all of that matters. We will always remember the grandeur of this day. The walk across the stage, the cistern, the white dresses. But what actually matters are the sun-soaked days on the cistern below this stage, and the memory of those dusty classrooms, studios, and labs, where that one afternoon you asked the big questions. What matters is the love of the people in this audience. What matters is all you have taught me and the chance that this speech might show even a fraction of my appreciation for that. Thank you, class of 2012. I'm proud to be part of it.
Thank you, Mary Alice. That was very nice. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate my friends and classmates in the class of 2012 on behalf of the entire student body for reaching the successful conclusion of your undergraduate college careers. Graduation and the festivities surrounding this event are primarily focused on the future. You're all undoubtedly excited to move on to the next stage of your lives, and your friends and family are gathered here today to share in that excitement. However, as a fellow College of Charleston student, I feel that it is only appropriate to celebrate the past as well. All of you and I share a common perspective, one that only current and former College of Charleston students know. Everyone in attendance today is aware that the college is an incredible place to live, learn, and grow. But calling the College of Charleston your home away from home is something that very few people are fortunate enough to be able to say. There truly is something special about this place. Worlds collide to create a beautifully historic and academically progressive institution. For a few short years, we study on this stunning campus and absorb the rich culture of the city that we all love. In what seems like the blink of an eye, you're about to become College of Charleston alumni, and I hope that you take just as much pride in that role as you have in being College of Charleston students. I hope that you look back on your time here and remember all of the friends that you've made and the good times that you've had with those friends. Somewhere between tough classes and rigorous academic commitments, we do find time to have some fun. Remember weekend beach trips, porch parties, walks in the Battery, and late-night study sessions in Addlestone. Cherish that awkward feeling of when you didn't quite make it to a class and then passed that class's professor on the street an hour later. And parents, that was one time. In addition to these fond memories, remember the support networks which might have met you during a time of need. The College of Charleston family has been by your side during good times and bad, and that will never change. College is an opportunity to learn about yourself and the world around you. And as College of Charleston students, you've done that with style. Now it's time to go out and do what you've always wanted to do. Be what you've always wanted to become. Wherever your paths may lead, never forget that this place is yours. Thank you.
Good morning. It's a real honor for me to take part in your graduation today and welcome you as the newest members of the College of Charleston Alumni Association. I had a speech to give that was pretty much the alumni president gives every year, but y'all been sitting here long enough and you probably want to get up here and get those diplomas, so I've cut it short. So just as one alum to another, I'm going to ask you to do three things. Number one, stay informed about the college. Visit the Alumni Association website. Stay connected on Facebook and Twitter and whatever else it is you kids do. We want you to become knowledgeable advocates for our school, as President Benson said. Number two, get involved. We have 26 alumni chapters throughout the United States and 2 overseas. So if you move to a city that has a chapter, join it and get involved. If there's not a chapter in your area, think about starting one yourself. Number 3, give back. Keep your philanthropic spirit after graduation. Your contributions of time, service, and money will help make sure that those who come after you enjoy the same wonderful experience you did at the College of Charleston. I'll leave you with one of the CFC's traditions. It involves the class ring. Before graduation, students wear the ring with the seal facing in, but at graduation, the ring is turned so that the seal faces out. This indicates you are now alumni of the College of Charleston and ready to go out into the world. So please stay informed, get involved, and give back. Congratulations and good luck to all of you.
And now, the reason we're here today, the awarding of the degrees. First, the Archery and Baccalaureate degree will be awarded the AB degree. The AB degree in classics requires significant coursework in both Greek and Latin. Other AB majors require significant coursework in Greek or Latin. The College of Charleston has awarded this degree for more than 2 centuries. This grand tradition continues today. Will the following candidates please rise? Megan Virginia Austin, Business Administration major in Hospitality and Tourism Management. Way over there. Christine Alexandria Shakidis, Special Education major. Rachel Loisanne Jester, Biology major. Julie Rachel Quebec, Biology major and Secondary Education Cognate major. And Betsy Ann Rickett, Biology major, and May Ellen Rourke, Biology major. I would like to ask those on stage to remain seated in order for the audience to see these candidates. However, it is the tradition that the audience here at the College of Charleston stands when this degree is awarded. Would the audience in the Cistern Yard please rise as able?
Curatoribus, octoratatum, tribuentibus, hos juvenes, in humanioribus, literis, placare eruditus, ad gradum artium baccalaureatus admissi. Congratulations, you may be seated. Next, joining me in the awarding of degrees will be Chair Padgett, Provost Hind, Executive Vice President Victor Wilson, and, if she would like to, Arlinda Locklear. Professors Joy Vandervoort Cobb and from the Department of Theater and Chris Corey from the Department of Biology will announce the names and majors of the graduates.
Thank you.
Upon successful completion of all degree requirements and with the recommendation of the faculty and the deans, I have the honor to present the bachelor's degree candidates of 2012.
Assisting with the graduates from the School of Business will be Professor Steve Litvin. For the bachelor's degree in accounting, joining us will be Professor Roxanne DeLaurel, chair of the department. Kevin Bosselier. Kevin Michael Brown also meets requirements for business administration. Mallory Michelle Burks. Tyler Williams Canty. James Yancey Cargile. Azriel Naraya Childs. Benjamin Malcolm Crane. Rachel Elizabeth Cross. Catherine Marie Cumby. Catherine Alford Zerwanka. William Corwin DePore. Christina Elizabeth Devaney. Adrian Bradford Doggett also meets requirements for business administration. Catherine Elizabeth Dowdy. Erin Elizabeth Ernest also meets requirements for business administration. David Claiborne Hare, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Michael Patrick Helmig, cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Amber Marie Hollenbeck, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Ella Bailey Howell, cum laude. Lacey Taylor Kolodny Glenn. William Scott McIntosh also meets requirements for economics. Samantha Ann Milbauer also meets requirements for business administration. Michael Paul Netto also meets requirements for business administration. Wing Te Nuk Wing also meets requirements for business administration. Andrew Jacob Rabinowitz. William Shannon Reed. Lauren Alexandra Romania, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Andrew James Rosen. Christy Hill Rushing. Brady Nelson Savage. Amanda Louise Stacy, cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Caitlin May Stokes. Janine Marie Vossler, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. The Honors College certificates were awarded by Dean John Newell at a separate ceremony yesterday. Zachary Galen Wall, cum laude. Jacqueline Gail Waters. Michael Edmund Weishar, cum laude, also meets requirements for history. Joshua Bradley Wynn. For the bachelor's degree in business administration, joining us will be Professor David Hanson, chair of the department. Alexander Anise Abiad also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Charles A. Allewine. Taylor Stephen Bell. William Christian Bales. Moshe Ari Bielski. Catherine Lane Black. Hallie Caitlin Black, cum laude. Emily Mariah Bond also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Jordan Allen Barino. Jillian Barbara Boston, cum laude. Dalton Jane Brower also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Ashley Sierra Brown. Austin Russell Brown also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Kyle R. Brown. Lindsay Christine Brown. Louise Weirs Brown. Charles Edward Carlisle III. Casey Lee Carver, cum laude. Daniel Lee Causey. Ethan Whittle Chapman. Whitney Kimberly Clark, cum laude. Richard Petraeus Clarkson III also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Catherine Walker Clifton also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Paul Beecher Cochran. Maxine Cunningham Coleman. Kyle Chase Corkery. Tamara Nicole Corley. Samuel Davis Cranford III. Tyler Patrick Crowley, cum laude. Hannah Elizabeth Cummings. Brendan Sullivan Curran. Terrell LaPaul Davis. Karen Elizabeth Davison also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Leanne Renee De La Cruz. Michael James Donnelly. Lindsay Ann Drevens also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Timothy Michael Drevens. Danielle Carolyn Ettinger. Brittany Noel Erico, cum laude. Matthew Reed Everts. Abigail Beam Faulkner also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Lauren Marnette Farr. Lindsay Anna Farrell. Margaret Ashley Finch, cum laude. Taylor Lane Fink. Emily Claire Ford also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Matthew Ross Friedman. Catherine Foreman Fury. Ryan Scott Gastley. Gregory Taylor Gelber. Andrew F. Gerland. Michael H. Geegan. Graham Stewart Patrick Gibbons. Joanna Pearl Ginberg, cum laude. Macy E. Griggs. Caitlin Elizabeth Gubrick. Corey Ann Hall also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Amanda Joe Hamilton. James Anthony Rathbone Hamilton. John William Harden. John David Hauk. William L. Hegwood. Rudiger Stefanini Hellberger. Ashley Kate Higginbotham. Kenneth Lavelle Hines II. Alexandra Elizabeth Hooven. Timothy J. House. Madeline A. Huggins. Thomas Keenan Hughes. Christopher John Impertor. Miles Julius Jackson. Laura Elizabeth Jarosco. Jessica Ashley John. Jennifer Ligon Johnson also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Crosby Johnson also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Leah Nicole Jones also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Chase George Joseph. Sean Connor Kerrigan. Christopher Scott Cole Morgan also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Logan Peter Cavori. Caroline Claire Craich, cum laude. Sarah Elizabeth LaBruce, cum laude. Himanshu Manik Lada. J. Edward Levinson. Jacob Allen Lewis. John Charles Lindsay. Curtis M. Little. Jessica Jo Lovins. Jeffrey Collins Lucas, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Azara Maharaj. Mara Elizabeth McGrain. James George Malatos. Erica Nicole Mallow. Edward Francis Morisich. Alexandra Marie Marzullo, cum laude. Jesse Earl Martin also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. David Fisher Mason. Andrew Peter McAdden. Thomas Albert McFall. Cameron Joseph McLemore II, James Patrick McNally, Seeley Chandler Merchant cum laude, Joshua Bennett Mishi, Kendrick Adam Miller, Charleston Rutledge Missile, Laura Melissa Moore, Claire Lee Morrison, William Morris Muntz, cum laude, Cara Beth Musciano, Jacqueline Michelle Niller, Kaylin Ann Nolte, cum laude, also meets requirements for communication. Harriet Caroline Peel, cum laude. Kyle Edward Phelan, Melanie Diane Pickering, cum laude. Sean Michael Prelak, Chelsea L. Price, Demetra Emmanuel Saras, Robert Clayton Reagans, Louis Joseph Raida, Roxana Ramirez also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Austin Ray, Colin Samuel Redrow, Austin Tyler Reed, cum laude, also meets requirements for biology. Michael Robert Carson Reese Jr. also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Aaron Joseph Rowe, Andrea Versailles Rogers, cum laude. John Paul Ross, Ashley Lynn Rotondo, Albert Campbell Rush, Duncan Winthrop Rutherford, Mary Catherine Sargent also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Michael J. Salvaggio, Jacob Shalom Sarusi, Ryan Matthew Sherlock, Claire Anthony Shields, Timothy Rowe Shilstone, Bo Jacob Simpson, Ramita Kaur Singh, Brandon James Sizemore, Stephanie Nicole Smith, cum laude, Cruin Matthew Steinmuller, Mary Elizabeth Stone Cipher, magna cum laude, Lindsay Devin Staudenmeyer, cum laude, Kurt Gunnar Sundberg also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Ryan A. Suway, Jenna Marie Tanner, Clinton Townsend Taylor, Carl E. Thomas II, the third, John Raymond Tripolsky, Katie Nicole Troy, Audrey Brooke Vance, Sarah Marie Vandekamp, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for anthropology. John Porter Vereen, David Pearson Vernon, cum laude, Taylor Oust Vickery, Seth Andrew Wallace, Austin Cale Warner, Amanda Courtney Waters, Carlin Curtis Welke, Meredith Catherine Weber, Charles Randolph Wells, cum laude, Daniel William Werney, Jessica Marie Whitbeck, Nicholas James White, Lee Pamela Whitaker, Kathleen Mackenzie Williams also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Alexander Robert Wilson. Hunter Bondurant Wilson also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Abigail DeCamp Wood. Derek Lamar Wynn. Stephen Jacob Wynn. Chi Zheng also meets requirements for hospitality and tourism management. Thomas Leighton Zierenberg. For the bachelor's degree in economics, joining us will be Professor Frank Hefner, chair of the department. Wesley Dovell Akers. Kristen Lee Bonney. Hillary Becker. Madison Alexandra Carr, cum laude. David Hutchinson Cobb. Joseph Christopher Cofrancesco, cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Andrew George Conti, cum laude. Peter James Corbett, Jr. Edmund Lane Curley. Travers Lucas Davis. Timothy Alexander Dean. Oliver David De Dominiques. So close. Ephraim Elliott Elston, cum laude. George Donahue Eng. Samantha Ann Esteban also meets requirements for historic preservation and community planning. Thomas Willard Fosbury. Nathaniel Lee Gardner. Luca Gattonicelli, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Benjamin Tate Goodson. John Preston Hatch, cum laude. Matthew Carl Hensel, magna cum laude. Mark John Hodsky. Anthony Charles Jameson, cum laude. Robert Chase Lee. Christopher Paul Leftis. Anthony John Losciavo. Sarah Kate McGee, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for arts management and the Honors College. Andrew Bestoff Marcus also meets requirements for urban studies. Robert Francis Marzullo. Gary Lee McCutcheon III, cum laude. Samuel Frank Mitchell. Shane Daniel Mullen. Emily Margaret Nellermo also meets requirements for political science. Tessa Tristan Apitha Petit also meets requirements for international business. Robert Philip Pruitt III. Elsa Diane Peash. Ellen Avery Saltmarsh, cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Donald Foster Schneider, cum laude. Edward Schwartz. Benjamin Louis Schwartz, cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Jeffrey James Seidel also meets requirements for business administration. Noah Jacob Simon. Byron David Stahl, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Ryan Paul Stewart. Jason Scott Steer. Gordon Case Stiglbauer. cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. David William Voss, cum laude. Bradford Jamison Wagner, cum laude, also meets requirements for Spanish. Caroline Y. Ward. Sarah Elaine Wood. For the bachelor's degree in Hospitality and Tourism Management, joining us will be Professor Wayne Smith, representing the department. Audrey Suzanne Abshire also meets requirements for Business Administration. Christina Nicole Arguello also meets requirements for Business Administration. Megan Virginia Austin also meets requirements for Business Administration. Melanie Lee Baker Matthews also meets requirements for Business Administration. Natalie Hunter Barger also meets requirements for Business Administration. Jacqueline Elizabeth Benoit also meets requirements for Business Administration. Sarah Ann Church, cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration. Alyssa Nicole Durazio, cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration. Julie Elizabeth Dyer also meets requirements for Business Administration. Catherine Elizabeth Edwards also meets requirements for Business Administration. Mary McAllister Evans also meets requirements for Business Administration. Amanda Elizabeth Fleming also meets requirements for Business Administration. Hannah Michelle Gimrick also meets requirements for Business Administration. Lindsay Elizabeth Gordon also meets requirements for Business Administration. Allison Michelle Hammonds also meets requirements for Business Administration. Brittany Paige Hansel also meets requirements for Business Administration. Laura Courtney Hitchman also meets requirements for Business Administration. Megan Joan Hood also meets requirements for Business Administration. Austin David Hubbard. Wesley M. Jacobson. Emmett Lee Masden Kellert also meets requirements for Business Administration. Rebecca Ann Keogh. Jill Aaron King also meets requirements for Business Administration. John Henry Klopp also meets requirements for Business Administration. Gabriella Grace Corba also meets requirements for Business Administration. Adam Kronemeyer. Keely Ann Laughlin also meets requirements for Business Administration. Vincent Thomas Lindacki also meets requirements for Business Administration. Nora Elizabeth Luce, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration and the Honors College. Alyssa Jean Massey, cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration. Stephanie Ashley McCormick, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration. Kristen Elise McLinko, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration and the Honors College. Alexa Lee Meany. Eric Burnside Meredith also meets requirements for Business Administration. Marissa Walk Michelle, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration. Haley Elizabeth Milligan also meets requirements for Business Administration. Jordan Saunders Moses also meets requirements for Business Administration. Elizabeth Ann Myers also meets requirements for Business Administration. Mary Catherine Nitz also meets requirements for Business Administration. Cynthia Stewart Patrick, cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration. Cameron Mark Phillips also meets requirements for Business Administration. Abby Ilana Pickus also meets requirements for Business Administration. Stacy Melissa Pope, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration. Denitra Charmaine Richardson. Jill Allison Shankup, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for Business Administration and the Honors College. Sarah Eve Silberstein also meets requirements for business administration. Emily Kathleen Smith, cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Brooke Chrysostomo Southern also meets requirements for business administration. Meredith M. Steele also meets requirements for business administration. Madeline Lee Strang. Christopher Mullen Sullivan also meets requirements for business administration. Claire Margaret Sweeney. Catherine Laney Talbert, cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Kelsey Wood Thompson also meets requirements for business administration. Sarah Brandgard Valley, cum laude, also meets requirements for business administration. Miles Thomas White also meets requirements for business administration. Britta Shea Williams also meets requirements for business administration. Kristen Blair Wolf also meets requirements for business administration. For the bachelor's degree in international business, joining us will be Professor Renee Muller, representing the department. Olivia Parsons Arbow. Earlene Credence Bagwell, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for political science. Christian Robert Bailey, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for Spanish and the Honors College. Chelsea Catherine Baker. David Adam Blumenfeld, cum laude. Julia Miranda Bonnell. Hunter Boatwright Boone, cum laude. Alexa Gabrielle Borghi, cum laude, also meets requirements for French and the Honors College. Emily Blair Bronaugh, cum laude. Zach Antonio Brown. Melanie Erin Carrier, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Colin James Campbell. Nico Ronaldo Cherisani. Elise Louise Chubb. Mark Frank Cipollina. John Gale Cornett. Elizabeth Ray Corrigan, cum laude. Nicholas Brandon Crocker. Christina May Cushing. William Ilsey Cutler. Ilsley. Philip Dante Cutrazula. Randall Dion Fernandez. Benjamin Daniel Frank. Danielle Kristen Frazier. Sarah Lauren Ganft, cum laude, also meets requirements for German and the Honors College. Dimitri Gorin. Corinne Claire Griesedick. Caroline Elizabeth Hafley, cum laude. Jonathan Daniel Haley. Eve Sanders Halley. Brooke Ann Homan. Kevin Martin Hilton. Haley Ann Horkey. William Covington Irby. William Vincent Kippens also meets requirements for the Honors College. Julia Emily Joy. Morgan Ashley Judy. Courtney Lee Kellman. Natalie Ann Knowlton. Courtney Lee Marouse. Katie Martinez. Andrew Fierro Mashik. Ada Margaret McKinney. Stephen Ellis McNeely. Ana Cecilia Mendoza. Yao Win. David Frazier Novak. Andrew Jacob Parker, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Carlos Antonin Pastor. Shnizana Penchev, top honors. Laurent Pezanis Christo. Justin Dwayne Presley. Hampton Long Rosenzweig also meets requirements for the Honors College. Chelsea Morgan Saunders. Samantha R. Skyland. Jacqueline Mara Simon. Victoria Ann Studo. Yuki Takemoto. Christopher David Thomas also meets requirements for German. Rocio Rena Thorndike. Mark Andre Wiersma also meets requirements for German. Rachel Anna Williams, cum laude, also meets requirements for French. Brianna Zerby. Zane Braylon Zheng.
Yes!
Assisting with the graduates from the School of Education, Health, and Human Performance will be Associate Dean Andrew Lewis. For the bachelor's degree in athletic training, joining us will be Professor Michael Flynn, Chair of the department. Christina J. Beline, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for physical education. Robert Louis Buta also meets requirements for physical education. Jamara Ravel Brown. Daniel Patrick Conley. Whitney Alyssa Aiken, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for physical education. Kendra Lynn Gardner, cum laude, also meets requirements for physical education. Kelsey Leanne Hines also meets requirements for biology. Jennifer Lee Honeycutt, cum laude, also meets requirements for physical education. Jefferson Thomas Raby, summa cum laude. Megan Lynn Roach also meets requirements for physical education. Elizabeth Sylvia Snow, cum laude. Sarah Kathleen Vermouth, cum laude, also meets requirements for physical education. Thank you, Sarah.
For the bachelor's degree in early childhood education, joining us will be Professor Maida Van Sickle, Chair of the department. Elaine Elizabeth Alford. Adrienne Michelle Austin. Kate Lauren Bramblett. Tiffany Marie Bostick. Elizabeth Carey Bryant. Krista Marie Collins. Caitlin Ann Cooney, magna cum laude. Deborah Ashley Duncan, cum laude. Rachel Ann Dupont. Jenna Ann Durant. Diana Grace Engels. Hillary Noel Griggs. Natalie Elise Hare. Latoya Tierra Jones. Jenna Elizabeth Kanoki, magna cum laude. Ashley Jordan Knotts. Patrick Andrew Majors, magna cum laude. Erica Lane Marvin. Edward Dimitri McNeil. Anne Montgomery Meyer. Farrell O'Connor Moore. Kendall Marie Rasmus. Samantha J. Rochester. Emily Catherine Rakowski. Sterling C. Savage. Jessica Lynn Schwartz. Caitlin Christine Shepard. Diane Marjorie Sobieschek. Haley Taylor Sparks. Mary Lee Spiker. Casey Elizabeth Tompkins, cum laude. Caitlin Marie Urbanik. Christine M. Watson. Zoe Catherine Woodrum. For the bachelor's degree in elementary education, Bobby Suzanne Adams. Emily Amanda Bagwell, cum laude. Alexander Applegate B. Banaco. Courtney Saunders Benoit, magna cum laude. Paula Joy Braswell. Colleen Feely Cahill, cum laude. Brittany Jeanette Calcutt, cum laude. Talia Grace Sharon, magna cum laude. Caroline Brogan Cuba, cum laude. Kara Logan Fleming. Kayla Ray Hardy. Lauren Michelle Harvey also meets requirements for early childhood education. Sarah Cameron Havel. Anna Caitlin Holland. Lauren Samantha Jordan, magna cum laude. Kaylee Bryn Kays. Jessica Joyce Kozitz. Terrence Lamar Manigault. Catherine Whitney McCracken, magna cum laude. Gina Marie Nash. Kevin Patrick Powers. Lauren Elizabeth Roberts. Middle name? Kelly Ann Ryan, cum laude. Emma Sims Short. Elizabeth Ann Smith. Alexandra Baker Vincent, cum laude. Candace Danielle Wright. Okay, for the bachelor's degree in middle grades education, Darren D. Argentina. Tessa Marie Barone. Catherine Ann Brockman. Mary Jillian Caudle. Casey Caroline Griffin, magna cum laude. Shatira Latonia Marie Hall also meets requirements for the Honors College. Jennifer Marie Joseph, cum laude, also meets the requirements for the Honors College. Thurston Matthew Massey. Heidi Shannon McKenzie, cum laude. Callie Marie Melton. Emma Sally Owens. Quentin Lamont Lee Ramsey. Mara Ann Schwelke. Eric Montrell Stallings. Elizabeth Shea Vela, magna cum laude. Hillary Ann Vieg. For the bachelor's degree in physical education, joining us will be Professor Michael Flynn, chair of the department. Middle name? Jamie Grimald Andrews, cum laude. Kirsten Ashley Armstrong. Melanie Faye Baker. Lanice Jasmine Bennett. Robert Lanou Besant. Brianna Shanice Bethay. Charlotte Kendall Biga. Patricia Ann Blake. Samantha Noel Brabham. Gabrielle Reeves Brickle. Charles Reynolds Budden. Laura Elizabeth Call. No? Yeah, okay, good. Call. Are you Samantha? Yeah. Sorry. Samantha Lynn Campbell. Kevin V. Couthen. Kaylin Laura Cogswell, cum laude. Karina Renee Colgan. Amanda Carol Collins. Christopher Gillis Colson. Lauren Elizabeth Connors. Daniel Nathan DiNardo. Brittany Kristen Dunsford. Megan Ashley Eads. Carmen Ware Ellington. Jenny Lauren Engel, cum laude. Brandon Roy Fowler. Jessica Renee Foxworth. Ryan Thomas Gale. Elizabeth Grace Grossclose. Allison Lauren Hafley, cum laude. Holly Catherine Hare, cum laude. Emily Elizabeth Hawkins. Jasmine Tierra Howard. Amber Lane Johnson, cum laude. Sarah Diane Johnson, summa cum laude. Delonte Antoine Jones. Erin Lynn Kennedy. Jordan Elizabeth Kennedy. Bailey Noel Kennington. Andrew Colton Kent. Kohler? Yeah. Megan Marie Kohler, cum laude. Stephanie Ann Lozier. Brandy Lynn Logan. Latanya Michelle Logan. James Berkshire McCloskey, Jr. Allison Christine McCormick. James Alexander Mims IV. Jennings Kelsey Moody, cum laude. Catherine Hunt Morris. Melissa Susan Murray. Lewis Warner Olivier. Nicholas Todd Osterman. Crystal Chiyenwa Osuji. Kayla Marie Patrick. Kinsey Lee Pajubarak. Rachel A. Porter. Jenny Olivia Price. Robert Nielsen Pritchard, also meets requirements for secondary education. Justin Tyler Repshis. Dominique Latifa Monet Robinson. Kelly Marie Lynn Rodriguez. Julian Hunter Sasser. Catherine Ruth Scardo. Carolyn Starkey Sharp. No? Bridget Fortune Simpson. Nicholas Stella. Hillary Ruffin Stringer. Gordon Ross Tooley, also meets requirements for secondary education. Allison Margaret Townsend, summa cum laude. Kristen Michelle Turk. Daryl E. Van Beek, Jr., cum laude, also meets requirements for secondary education. Tyler Blackburn Vines, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Carrie Ann Wagelin. Caroline Elizabeth Warren, cum laude, also meets requirements for biology and the Honors College. Crystal Jasmine Waters. Bryant Douglas Westerholm. Kelsey Elizabeth White. Chelsea Lee Nicole Wiles. For the bachelor's degree in secondary education cognate, joining us will be Professor Maida Van Sickle, chair of the department. Sally Oscar Leanne Bowers. Joshua Kendall Vines. Oh, Bowers, sorry. Wait. Joshua Kendall Brown. Also meets requirements for history. Taylor Danielle Bryant. Also meets requirements for history. Colleen Ann Clays. Also meets requirements for English. Regina Marie Cox. Also meets requirements for biology. Cami Rose Davis. Also meets requirements for English. Allison Mary Giacinto. Also meets requirements for history. Bentley Annette Jones. Also meets requirements for English. Megan Christine Kimmelmulieri. Also meets requirements for history. Eleanor Ann Rich. Also meets requirements for English. Emily Catherine Seeger, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for history. Sarah M. Smith also meets requirements for English. Sydney Lane Strickland also meets requirements for mathematics. Logan Marie Wright, cum laude, also meets requirements for mathematics. For the bachelor's degree in special education, Megan Elise Balistrieri. Bianca Lakeisha Carter. Christine Alexander Chakides, cum laude. Brittany Lynn Clements, magna cum laude. Megan Elizabeth Crimes, magna cum laude. Samantha Jean Diamond. Ellen Herlong Flowers. Leander Pauline Hamrick, cum laude. Whitney Renee Harris. Hannah Grace Herman, cum laude. Molly Ann Kempton. Calliope Andonia Kukolis. Sarah Elizabeth Lempert. Rachel Lauren Massey, cum laude. Rebecca Rose Mercer. Claire Dana Nicolato. Marjorie Tyndall Pryor. Caroline Haynes Somerville. Shada Nicole Stroud. Natalie Ann Tripp, cum laude. Catherine Carew Young. Assisting with the graduates from the School of Sciences and Mathematics will be Dean Michael Auerbach. For the bachelor's degree in astrophysics, joining us will be Professor Narayanyan Kutharumal, representing the department. Joanna Christine Gillespie, cum laude, also meets requirements for physics. James Alexander Green. Jessica Lynn Trucks, also meets requirements for physics. Palmer Wong, cum laude. Andre Zorleshku also meets requirements for physics. For the bachelor's degree in biology, joining us will be Professor Jaap Polenius, chair of the department. Maham Abid. Zachary Evan Adkins, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for studio art. Alyssa Margaret Albertson, cum laude. Stephanie Vanessa Albright. Melissa B. Alger. Rachel Claire Anderson. Kimberly Tamia Arnold. Kale William Atterbury. Emmeline Grace Baggett. Stephen Timothy Baker. Lindsay Jane Baldridge, magna cum laude. Joshua David Barrick, cum laude. Caitlin Emily Black, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Aaron Michael Blackshaw, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Robert Lloyd Blank. Emily M. Boersma, cum laude. Eric Baker Bowers. Rachel Alexandra Boyd, cum laude. Michelle Dallas Brooksbanks, cum laude, also meets requirements for studio art. Jonathan Langston Bullington. Ross Hampton Burnett, cum laude. Nicholas Timothy Calcagno. Emily Ann Carrig, cum laude. Philip R. Carson. Diego Alejandro Castro Oliva. Kristen E. Chaconis. Megan Catherine Chauncey. Georgia Constance Chavis. Bridget Marie Christensen, cum laude. Charlotte Howland Cochran. Lindsay Marie Coleman. Amanda Catherine Collins. Dana Tooley Collins. Caitlin Marie Corder. William Paul Cowley II, also meets requirements for English. Katie Lynn Victoria Cross, magna cum laude. Katajunia Cherkas. Whitney Renee Dougherty, cum laude. Joshua Charles Dillon. Rachel Ann Dorr, cum laude. Margaret Lucas Douglas. Amanda Ashley Dressel. Kashal B. Duvela. Tiara Lane Duncan. Matthew Mark Ferraro, cum laude. Brandon Lee Fessler. Michael Francis Fisher. Jeremy Ryan Frank. Rania Maximilian Frenzel. Lindsay Marie Frey. Troy James Gans. Branko Gavrik. Ashley Covington Golden. Alexandra Gottschall. Kimberly B. Golf, cum laude. Alana Danusha Guzevich. Bashir Hamid. Marcus Jared Henderson. William David Hendricks, also meets requirements for psychology. Christopher Andres Hillman, summa cum laude. Amanda Ruth Height. Jessica Rose Hoffman, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for anthropology and the Honors College. Alexander McLean Hovey. Caitlin Ashley Hughes, cum laude. Ann Taylor Isaacs, summa cum laude. Laura Ann Jackson. Andre Jamal Jennings. Okay. Rachel Lois Ann Jester, summa cum laude. Stephanie Ray Johnson. Lauren Michelle Jones. Taylor Christopher Jones. Quinby Lee Kiesler. Janelle Loretta Kibler. Brooke Denise King. Kaylee June Clicksball, Bull, cum laude. Alexis Nicole Coher. Zachary Richard Krejci, cum laude. Scott Philip Landreth, magna cum laude. Allison Len, cum laude. Richard Walter Liebert, Jr. Elizabeth Marie Limehouse. Taylor Dean Locklear. Henry A. Lumpkin. Sankila Vonche Martin. Anna Noel Matthews, cum laude. Claire Arlene McGorry, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Carolyn Elizabeth Waring Merchant. Jordan Lane Merck. Frances Elizabeth Misalota. Courtney Jane Miller. Ryan Christopher Mims, cum laude. Brittany Rachel Mora, cum laude, also meets requirements for historic preservation and community planning and the Honors College. Amber Lynn Napier. Emma Grace Newberry. Andra Oprasan, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Koshal Suresh Patel. Ben Moses Perrin. Christopher Lee Phillips. Laura Christine Pincaro. Kimberly Lillian Pomerantz. Casey Lee Poor. Guillerme Bastos Fejera Porto. Magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Catherine Ann Potenti. Deborah Louise Powers. Sydney Michelle Ramsey, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Wesley Cole Ratliff. Melinda Ann Ratliff. Kaylee Gail Ray. Elizabeth Grace Reeves, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for psychology. Samantha Caitlin Reeves. Ariana Nicole Renrick. Christina Frances Reynolds, cum laude. Betsy Ann Rickett, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Daniel Bennett Ryder. Justin Lee Ritter. Eric Wayne Robertson, cum laude. Emily Ann Moore Rosé, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. May Ellen Rourke. Dina Marie Russell. Allison Page Scatterday, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Andrew Griffith C., also meets requirements for Spanish. Colleen Caitlin Sheridan, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Chelsea M. Scholes. Suzanne Michelle Sifri, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Elliot Garrison Smith. Adam Gregory Strain. Samantha Jean Suriano, also meets requirements for psychology. Samantha Alexander Sweet. Molly Thimi Nyongta. Margaret Jordan Tanner, magna cum laude. Nakul Parag Thakur. Linda Tran. Stephanie Nicole Trezeis. Rachel Eileen Vickery, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Lena Marie Wadsworth, cum laude. Lauren Elizabeth Weigel. Mary Kristen West, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Alexandria Sue Williams. Courtney June Wing. Daniel Lawrence Winters, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Rocky Chun Wong, cum laude. Makara Skylar DeJoy Wright. Robin Deborah Young. Jordan Gail Zubach. For the bachelor's degree in biochemistry, joining us will be Professor Pamela Ribbs Galasco, chair of the department. John Wilson Coward also meets requirements for chemistry. Stephen Alexander Ferguson also meets requirements for music and chemistry. Lauren Elaine Gallardini, cum laude, also meets requirements for chemistry in the Honors College. Timothy William Holford. Tanya Colleen Hunt, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for biology. Ellen Kate Innes, top honors. Matthew Thomas No, magna cum laude. Andrew Cody Lehman. Wesley Francis Murphy, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Thomas Joseph Novak, also meets requirements for chemistry. Carolyn Elizabeth Rogers, cum laude. Sarah Elizabeth Smith, cum laude. Thomas James Struble. For the bachelor's degree in chemistry, Brian Hunter Bidler. Sydney Marie Boniface. Nathan Craig Casasa. Susan Renee Dukes. Philip Joshua Chase Mabe. Vincent Joseph Palmieri, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. William Matthew Sanders. Candace Zane Almer, also meets requirements for biochemistry. Danielle Nicole White. Justin Reed Zimmerman. For the bachelor's degree in computer information systems, joining us will be Professor Christopher Starr, chair of the department. Marianne Lindley Rogers. For the bachelor's degree in computer science, Andrew S. Basada. Randolph Matthias Burrell. Stephen Harris Davidson. Glenn Fakin. Shannon Wayne Fox. Charles Foster Freeman III. James Day Goodrich Jr. Jennifer Lee Green, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for mathematics. Jamie Lee Greenlee, magna cum laude. Timothy Barrett Griesemer. Virginia Claire Harrison. Jordan Scott Homan, cum laude. James Albert Joy IV. Sean Michael Lally. Jason Paul Leonard. James Alexander Rajobi. Scott Allen Rosenbrook. Joshua Scott Walton. Bradley Michael Woods, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. For the bachelor's degree in computing in the arts, Matthew Thomas Cruz. Emily S. Darrow. For the bachelor's degree in discovery informatics, Thomas Alexander Fussell. Catherine Victoria Gumps, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for biology. Alexandra Melinda Medlin, also meets requirements for biology. Russell Gus Buchwald Noland, also meets requirements for marine biology. Ewan Christopher Matthew Oglethorpe, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. For the bachelor's degree in geology, joining us will be Professor Mitchell Colgan, chair of the department. Jordan Alexander Adams. Megan Renee Arnett. Peter Jacob Bierce. Gabrielle Jacqueline Bird. James Ryan Capps. Andrew W. Kloss. Oh, Arthur W. Kloss. I apologize. Victoria Aylett Cleese. Christopher J. Enfinger. Hampton Boyd Frazier, cum laude. Brett Gordon Hahn. Daniel Kyler Harper, cum laude. Christian Keating Hartman. Veronica Reagan Holton, cum laude. Elise Louise Jenkins. Casey Lynn Johnson. Jennifer Caitlin Kist. Also meets requirements for marine biology. Samantha Marie Kuzma. Lindsay Cameron Lipsey. Also meets requirements for business administration. Vanessa Lynn Martin. Anne Frances Maston. Caitlin Coker-Meyer. Heather Mary Meyer. Also meets requirements for religious studies. Ralph Millage Morris. Alex Nectarline. Molly Dillon O'Neill. Emily Brooke Osborne. David J. Pasquini. Joseph R. Rembert. Bradley Daniel Sion. Gavin Cooper Smith. David Kutai Weiss, cum laude. For the bachelor's degree in marine biology, joining us will be Professor Jaap Hellenius, chair of the department. Beatrice Helena Calhoun. Evan Ashley Carroll. Lauren Michelle Christians, cum laude. Finn Dennis. Meredith Sarah Diskin. Lauren Elizabeth Feast. Summa cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Courtney Elizabeth Gerstenmayer. Summa cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Matthew O. Hill. Shannon Kelsey Hoy. Jared Saltzman Hulteen. Cassandra Ray Yench. Sydney Paige Jenkins. Ian Donald Kelmartin. Jordan Marie Mangus. Haley Elena Ottinger. Jason M. Pete. Morgan J. Richardson. Jacob Michael Oster, cum laude. Hollis Ann Romanchik. Mariana Rius, magna cum laude. Ada Rose Starino, also meets requirement for Spanish. Kelsey Francis Zimmerman. Daniel John Zerlo. For the bachelor's degree in mathematics, joining us will be Professor Robert Mignon, chair of the department. Benjamin Johnson Albia. Emily Denise Brown. Joshua Falter, cum laude, also meets requirements for international business and the Honors College. Alexander Wilson Hill. Robert Lawrence Keller IV. Sean Michael Monahan, magna cum laude, also meets requirements for music. Jay Seymour, magna cum laude. Allison Faye Tierbach. Arena Vandervoort, magna cum laude. For the bachelor's degree in physics, joining us will be Professor Naranyan Katharumo, representing the department. Philip Scott Boner, cum laude, also meets requirements for mathematics. Clarissa Ann Briner, summa cum laude, also meets requirements for mathematics in the Honors College. Kyle Chesson Clayton. Robert Arthur Raitt, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College. Jamie Postel Thrift. Kathleen Austin Wise, cum laude, also meets requirements for the Honors College.
Will the candidates for the bachelor's degrees please rise? By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and on the recommendation of the faculty and the deans of the College of Charleston, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science as earned, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. I would now like to acknowledge the faculty of the college. If they would stand, they deserve the credit for the quality, the success, the reputation. And they're the ones responsible for the student-focused culture that we have like no other institution has, and I thank you for that. I know that you guys got to this point mostly on your own, but credit should also go to your families and friends, the support system. The support system that they provide plays a critical role in the education process, and we all know that only so well. I would like the parents, the grandparents, the spouses, and other family and friends of the graduates to stand so that our students and our faculty and staff and administration can thank you. If the trustees would stop moving their feet, please. Graduates, we are literally delighted with the value that you have added to the College of Charleston during your time with us. We have truly learned from each other, and that's what education is all about. I offer you my congratulations on a job well done. Ladies and gentlemen, the College of Charleston class of 2012.
Thank you.